Are those called to supper of the Lamb.
So what do you do if the police come into your church, guns drawn, and tell you to put your hands up? We're going to break this incident down, what happened, and then what you can do to prevent this in your church, to keep this from happening in the first place. And if it does happen, what you can do to help the police and to let them get the person that they're out seeking. Now, before we get started, I want to thank all of you who have sent me prayers and messages and everything else about my last video about being sick. I appreciate it. I put it out not for sympathy, but I want people to learn from my mistake and how I got sick and how I have to deal with this. But also, you're going to see little changes in me probably from medication, just in my speech. And I'm a little bit slower than I was before. So I just want to give you a heads up and thank you again for all the kind words. This is an awesome community. And to be honest, this is why I love two-way cops, but I leave because I want to concentrate more on my Christian community. And because you guys are so awesome, it is a lot more stress-free and I appreciate it. I love you guys. All right, let's break this down. The cops got a shots fired call. And when they rolled up, the shooting suspect ran into the church. Now, if you get my bulletin at christianwarriortraining.com, I put out a weekly church crime watch where I list all the crimes that occur at churches around the country. And almost every week, there is a suspect that flees the police and goes into a church that's active. Why do suspects go into churches? Because they look at it as a place of sanctuary. It's almost like, haha, cops can't get me here, but we can and we will. And hopefully you have a church security team that'll grab him before he comes in. And so he fled into the church and tried to blend in by going to the pews in the back. And he kind of blended in with the parishioners. Now, as you can see in the video, the cops came in and were yelling, "Get your hands up, get your hands up." Now, that's for everybody. They don't know. They know the bad guy is in there, probably because citizens are directing them and they have some kind of dynamic intelligence that the suspect is in there. And they're not sure if he's by himself. And you guys all look like good church-going people, but don't forget everybody goes to church and you can't tell by looks. And just look at the crime watch and look at all the criminals that are arrested at churches. And a majority of them look like you and I. So they need to sort out who the bad man is or bad woman is and start working through it. They aren't going to be nice, especially in a call like this, because they want to stop violence before it starts. They're worried about the suspect getting up and engaging in a shootout in front of a lot of different people. So they are going to be throwing out commands. It's going to sound rude. It's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast. So the suspect was found in the back. Cops took him into custody. The church was evacuated and cleared because they're looking for additional suspects. They're looking for additional suspects, but also there was a gun missing. And they want to go back and they want to look for that gun because it's evidence in a crime. But they also want to make sure there's no other suspects there. So people are going to be evacuated and taken out. If you're church security and they start evacuating, you can certainly say, "Hey, I'm church security. I'd like to help you." But more than likely, they're not going to. There's going to be enough cops there that they're just going to want to handle it on their own. Don't take offense to it. You actually want the cops to handle it and for you to be out of it. That's honestly the best way to handle it. They've got all that training for a reason. So what can your church security team do to prevent a bad man from coming in and seeking sanctuary? Well, sometimes you can head off of the pass. Remember, I keep telling you guys, all problems start in the parking lot. So I don't know what the security situation was for this church. I don't know if they had security or not. I just don't know. So if you have church security in the parking lot, usually that person would have heard the shots fired, would have been like, "Hey, I hear shots fired," and you would advise other people, "I hear shots coming from this area." Lock your church down immediately. If you got shots fired in the area, there's going to be a suspect on the run, and churches are the place to go because they feel that the police aren't going to kill them if they go inside of a church, which is false because you can see a prior video I did where the cops blazed a guy in front of a Presbyterian church in New York City. So you're going to want to lock down your church immediately. And then at the entry points, put armed people at that entry point to protect the people inside. You want to let the people inside know what's going on. And then you want to call the police, let them know you heard shots fired, and ask them if you should be locking things down. A lot of times they're going to tell you, "No, we're actually chasing a suspect right now, and they're coming towards you." Or they may tell you, "No, it's just fireworks. Don't worry about it. You can open everything up and then you're fine," right? But what happens if you're not outside and you don't see him coming? Once they enter, you need to have security at all. You can't have an open door without having some kind of security at that door. If you don't have security at that door, somebody's going to come in and this incident happens. My church has a door that is uncovered on weekends and it bothers me, but it's what they want and I'm not going to argue with it. I'm just going to do exactly what my elders want me to do. If someone comes in, they're normally going to be out of breath. And go back to, I have training on what to look for with danger cues. And I talk about how you can tell if somebody is a bad man by looking at these danger cues. So in this instance, you're going to see somebody might be out of breath when they come in. Act like an enhanced greeter, just like the greeters at the front door, but you're going to come up, you're an enhanced greeter, you're armed, you come up and you're like, brother, you're out of breath. Are you okay? And listen to what they have to say. Don't just let them come in. You have got to talk to them. So touch them and ask, hey, how are you? What's going on? You're out of breath. Is everything okay? Are you running from somebody? Or are you running to something? And their answers are not going to be coherent and jive with what's really going on. And use your spidey senses. Look, humans are the only animal on earth that don't run when it senses danger. I want you to remember that and repeat that to yourself often. Cops can tell you when they go to these crimes, they look back at this and they're like, they think they won't say it to the victim, but you often think like, why weren't you running at this point? And they don't. And cops, that's why they're really good at sensing danger, because they've seen other people in danger and they know, oh, this is the point I need to leave. So have security at the doors, be that enhanced greeter, contacting people when they come in, look for those danger cues. You can go to courses.christianwarriortraining.com and you can go take those courses and learn what to look for with some of those danger cues. If somehow you miss all that and the police come in and they have guns drawn and they're yelling, get your hands up, get on the ground, anything like that, immediately comply. Don't go, hey, I'm church security. I'd like to help you for a moment. They don't care. Get on the ground, lay down. When there's a pause, hey, I'm church security. We can help you. They will more than likely tell you, no, we're good to go. Unless you're in a rural area and that guy's probably going to be by himself and be like, heck yeah, jump up, let's go, join the party, right? But for a lot of you in urban areas, there's going to be enough cops. I mean, when a call like this comes out, you get everybody. Just remember the cops have no idea what they're walking into. So they're going to be very forceful, impose their will. Just let them take over the scene in all duties. So the big thing here is make sure you have people in the parking lot. You're going to hear those shots fired because there was a guy next door that heard the shots fired. So lock it down. Hold your post, but hold your post inside because you don't want to be staying outside and then have nowhere to run when the guy comes out with a gun. And you'll be good to go. The most important thing out of all of this, remember your ABCs. Always be caring.